So I've wondered for a long time, ever since 9/11, I thought we've always been protected prior to that. We've never suffered any mass casualties, for a long time anyway, on our soil because God protects us. That's clearly obvious. But something happened for 9/11 to be able to take place because God, had he been fully protecting us, it wouldn't have happened, believe it or not. And I've always thought he lifted some protection. And you can blame Muslim, whatever, but he lifted, I'm not saying he lifted all, but he lifted some. This would be why. Joint Declaration of the Doctrine of Justification, the Lutheran World Federation and the Roman Catholic Church. This was all coming together because we're going to agree across denominations on the essential doctrine, the very thing that Jesus went off on the Pharisees for. And then you did. And then you've continued with this ecumenicalism crap. So not only have you, left your flock, and it shouldn't even be your flock. This is why God didn't want any of this. This is why I keep saying he didn't come here to build a structure. He didn't want all these denominations. He didn't want all these leaders. He wanted to be the shepherd. But what has happened? All the people in your denominations, your Christian denominations, they look to the leader of the church. The very thing that was happening with the Pharisees, which is why God said, you stand in the way of my people going in and knowing my Father while you yourselves don't go in. Well, that's the same exact thing, as God is my witness. It's the same exact thing. So if they don't get it together, and they won't, I don't think they will. Because once they go into this, because I've seen some of these shows and it's like, oh, this person, they're going off they're not following doctrine. So these are all people that don't know the shepherd's voice, literally. They don't follow the shepherd. They think that Jesus came and sacrificed his life to give them a book and not know that he was to be the shepherd. So we never should have had all these churches or all of these church leaders to begin with. But this is man saying, no, we need to keep everyone under control, not having enough faith in God, not surrendering to God, letting him do it his way, you yourselves not following the shepherd's voice. Because if you knew the shepherd's voice, then none of you churches, Methodist, Protestant, Lutheran, Presbyterian, none of you would have done this, because the shepherd would have told you, no. The shepherd would have told you, if you're going to be a teacher, then what you need to do is make sure all the people in your church, one by one, you have to make sure that every day they are following my voice, because it's in the word. What all of you worship is Paul. You so much didn't follow the shepherd's voice that you didn't recognize the problems with Paul's writings. You should have stuck with Jesus and John. Those are the two that really just stick with. Okay? I'm not saying that the other gospels are, it's just like Luke wrote part of Acts, but there's been suspect that did he. And what I don't understand about it, but they all them came on consensus. So this is exactly what the Pharisees did. And God condemned them to hell. If you know the shepherd's voice, the shepherd will alert you that something's wrong here. This doesn't align with Jesus. How did none of these churches? Because, well, for two reasons. One, I think some of them deliberately did this because they knew that they wanted God to lift. Again, they've been trying very hard to get God to lift protection. This would be a way to do it. Because it's one thing, God looks down, thinks, my people, they want to know me, they're in the church, and all of these stupid, denominations of Christianity think that they know me so well, and they don't even follow my voice. They don't even realize I am to be the shepherd over everyone. That's how it was to be. I mean, they'll stand up there and say it, but what ends up happening because of the church governance and the church structure is everybody just follows whatever the leader at the podium says. So yeah, Christian churches across denominations agree on essential doctrines forming a shared foundation. Basically on everything. Yeah, I mean, where they diverge is their church governance. So you are the Pharisees. You are the Pharisees, all of the Christian denominations. Unbelievable to me. Here's how much they are. Because the Pharisees maintained a highly structured doctrine that all members followed rigorously, combining the written Torah with an authoritative oral Torah of prophetic teachings and traditions to interpret and apply God's law to daily life. They emphasized strict observance of Sabbath laws, ritual purity, and on and on. They achieved doctrinal cohesion through scholarly leaders, expert in law exposition, resisting assimilation while making Judaism participatory for all adult Jews, not just priests. This strict uniformity aimed at holiness, but drew Jesus's critique for legalism over heart obedience. Exactly. That's the problem. So that's what you have all become, the Pharisees. You know, you're all going to agree on the doctrine. You all agreed there's no more future revelation. You all are the Pharisees. Every single one of the Christian denominations are. If you're lucky enough in your town to have a church that isn't tied to any of this Pharisee damnation here, then great, go to that, as long as it's not some lunatic left church either. You know, otherwise, this is why you didn't need any of this. There is one shepherd, it is God. If you have the Spirit of God in here, then that is who you're to follow. The problem is there is a ton of people in these churches that think that they follow God, but they follow the head of their church. So God will hold all of them accountable, okay? But don't think that some of these didn't do this on purpose. See, you think that some of these people are so holy, like Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk, because, they're going on the campuses saying all these good things about, we should keep the Sabbath. No, Jesus came to put the law in your heart, okay? There's a reason he broke the Sabbath. Jesus broke the Sabbath for a reason. Because he wanted you to know him here. He wanted you to follow him, not any of these leaders anymore. You don't need them. So this infuriated God. Because it's leading people into the same place the Pharisees were leading them. Not knowing him, are going to have a whole damnation full of people because everybody wants to follow their church leader or their church denomination rather than follow the true shepherd. There is only one shepherd. None of these churches, no Christian denomination knows the shepherd, because if they knew his voice, that shepherd would tell them no to this, no to everything you're doing. If anything, you need to make sure your entire people in your church, since I'm their shepherd and they're my flock, you've led them all astray. They probably don't even know my voice to follow because they're too busy following you, and you're taking them just like the Pharisees into the gates of hell.